In today's video, we're going to discuss how we can make e-commerce listings stress-free. I usually interview another reseller and I have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to help make more successful and profitable resellers. So if you're interested in reselling, then you are in the right place. My guest today is Randy Fasig. Randy is my friend and colleague and has been a reseller, business owner, and entrepreneur for many years. Let's bring Randy on and we shall get started. Hello,
Hey,
sir. Okay, you're going to tell us how we can make listings stress-free.
that's right. I am.
All right, let's get
You
started.
know what? I think watching a lot of YouTube videos and trying to keep up with the lies that they want to tell you is not a way to go stress free. If you want to start a business, you want a business that you can enjoy, not one that stresses you out and it gets to the point where you can't even sleep at night. So I'm going to just go over a few points. Some of these maybe you won't like, and some of these you will. And the first question I'm going to ask is one that I promised Adam that I would ask. Adam, how many things did you get listed today?
Today, I didn't get any list because I was doing this. I got 22 for the week, which 22? No, 12. 12 for the week, which was
12 for
22.
the week. Well, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's better than normal. What do you think? What do you think a normal day of listing should be?
I'd be happy if I got 30 to 40 listings a week. So I figure like five is good for me.
I think that's quite attainable.
7 days, 30 to 35 listings a week. But
You
as we discussed before, I've been selling, from my cash pile, which is 99% clothing, and it's a lot of labor, and that's why I'm looking forward to what you can say. And I want to get out of. I've discussed before in this channel. I want to get out of selling clothing. I mean, if I find something occasionally thrifting or yard selling, I'll list it. But I like to be like 75, 66% ish. 2/3 to 3/4 hard goods.
See, I think that things should be free and easy. Not that we should give things away free, and not that we should be all that easy. But, however, I think a good starting point is to list 5 items a day. You realize that listing 5 items a day, not even 7 days a week, but 6 days a week, by the end of the year, you're going to have 1,500 listings. And 1,500 listings is more than enough to keep track of. I see people who have 20 and 30,000 listings. And the more I look into their site, they're really not doing that much. I even wonder how they make money because it's just a lot to keep after. And it's a lot more than one person can keep after. The average supermarket has 20 or 30 different buyers for different sections of the store. They don't have one buyer for everything because pretty much they can't really manage all those things. And neither can the average entrepreneur. And okay, let's say you didn't get 5 listings done today. Let's say you didn't get any. What should you do tomorrow? Should you do 10? Absolutely not. I think you should still only do 5. You know what? You're going to have those days, but you want this to be stress-free. If you want a job with stress, you can go to work for any company and have stress. And maybe you should start out part-time. I know a lot of part-time sellers that do really well, and they could be full-time, but they know that, full-time is a different mindset than part-time. Part-time, at least they have a guaranteed income. And maybe that's for you.
But part-time is kind of like a side hustle, additional income. But it's like I said, they when they do it, they're enjoying doing it as opposed to being a job.
Yeah, it has to be stress-free. The first thing you want to find out is what is expected of you from the platform itself, and can you keep up with those standards? If you want to move into my house, okay, and rent a room, you're going to have to live up to my standards. I'm not going to have to live up to your standards. So if you think that you're going to go in and tell eBay, Amazon, Walmart, whatever platform you're selling on, you're absolutely wrong. You're going to have to find out what their criteria is. And if you can't handle their criteria, don't list there. It's only going to add to your stress level. And really, you don't need that. And they don't need that. In fact, they'll pretty much find a way to get rid of you. We want to keep this nice. We want to keep this fresh. Every now and then you got to freshen up your store. The average supermarket gets rid of 20% of its items every year, sometimes even more, because they got to rotate other items in, new items. It's irritating. I live in the pretty much the third largest area in the state, and we have a lot of things that our stores don't carry. I have to go to New York or to New Jersey to buy some of the things from those same stores. They build a store and that's what they have to live with. And that's what you have to live with. You're not going to fill your house up like a hoarder. Well, I hope not.
You haven't seen my house.
I mean, there's always that potential thing. But think about it. How many men's stores have closed? Well, a lot of sellers sell clothing. Most of the men's stores have closed because men don't buy clothing as a people group. I mean, let's face it, men's underwear aren't comfortable till there's at least 5 or 6 holes in them, and then they're going to wear them for another 5 years. So how many times are you going to sell men's clothing? I don't think it's a good category. Women's clothing, women's shoes, big time. Sneakers, yeah, because pretty much they buy them for investments and not wearing them. And that's a good thing. You can get resellables where maybe you can buy a dozen pair of the same sneakers in 10 different sizes. So there you got 120 boxes of shoes. That's not having to relist them. That's basically changing the quantity, and that's all. That doesn't take very long. Once your pictures are done, you're done. So even those 5 listings can really be toned down to just 1 or 2, maybe 3. Find something that you can resell over and over and over again. There's a time when I sold spices and then I sold coffee. Well, I buy a pound of coffee every week, actually several pounds. But I don't buy a pound of garlic every week. I buy a pound of garlic maybe once a year, and I probably use more than most people. So, would I make more money selling garlic or would I make more money selling coffee? These are some of the choices that you really should look at. Plus, how much time is it going to take you? What is involved in it? Do you really want to measure clothing? Do you really want to take a lot of time taking photographs?
Let's do a timeout here. It's too much barking.
Yeah.
Let's is she calm down or is going to take a little bit and then we'll get, well, I can just send you another link. Do the same thing, just do another link. She calm down now? Now she calms down if I talk.
No, she won't shut up. Okay.
I will I guess I could probably try to edit that out. Yeah, let's just continue. I'll try to edit that part out.
We'll keep going. I mean, you know what? I don't want to go on for a long rant because otherwise people will fall asleep.
Yeah, I hope I can edit it out. If worst comes to worst, we'll just re-record it. So let's just continue to edit this out.
Yeah, because I don't know where it started and
right.
I don't know where it stopped.
And I'll just go like this. I'll just go like this. I'll go.
So I mean, that's pretty much what it takes to go stress free. Look at your listings. You know what? Blow the things away, blow them out, get rid of them that cause you that problem. Yeah, going out and buying is fun, but having money in your pocket's a little bit more fun. And that's really what it's all about. It's just keeping it light. Sometimes you got to get together with maybe another seller to kind of keep you both on the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about listing from your cash pile, your death pile, and that's the fun part of the job. Typically, is sourcing and the treasure hunt, so to speak. But if you're not listing things and selling things, why are you in business? I mean, you got to. I mean, even if it's a part-time business or a side hustle, you have to consider reselling a business.
Yeah, you committed yourself to it. Now you have to keep up with it. You know what? There's with everything, there are times and things that you just don't like to do. And as you grow the company, do you want it to be a one-person company, or do you want to hire three or four or five people? I had 100 people, and you know what 100 people is? It's 100 headaches. It's my damn dog. That's 100 headaches all in one. Anyway, uh, you know, hey, keep it fun. Otherwise, you might as well quit.
What are some of your tips to keep it fun, to keep it stress-free?
Well, I get up in the morning and first thing, I don't go to work. I get a cup of coffee and a donut. For all you health nuts, the head surgeon every day starts out with a cup of coffee and two donuts. And he's the head heart surgeon at one of the largest hospitals in Pennsylvania. And I know that because I had a retail store that sold coffee and donuts. And he was my first customer every morning. Then I come and I look at my feedback and my emails, and I pay attention to the ones that are particularly nasty, because those are the ones I'm going to learn from. I don't answer them until the next day, because otherwise they wouldn't get an answer that I would like at the end of it, and
That,
they
that
wouldn't.
that's a great tip. Kind of like just kind of absorb it and don't immediately react. That's the problem with social media these days, especially like with
Well,
athletes. Something happens and bang, and they're responding right away. They don't think about it and decompress.
most people don't realize that a lot of angry emails are a customer who really actually likes your product and wants it to be better and are disappointed, and they really don't know how to voice that. So they voice it really in anger because they haven't set aside the time to think about it. A lot of them don't understand a lot of the things that happen. Uh, Tuesday, eBay's site was not working. So the people who asked me a question on Monday when I was not in couldn't get an answer on Tuesday. So they only got an answer on Wednesday. Well, 3 days is really a long time. But they don't realize that. People don't realize that when they call up support, that those people already had 3 or 4 hours of people berating them and threatening them. And I mean, I don't like the answers I get from support most of the time. But I
I
also
actually
realize that it's not a great job.
I actually called support this week. I mean, I know for those of you that watch the channel, both Rainey and I are friendly with Mike flipping goodies, and Mike says not to call customer support, and some people call it too much. Well, I had an issue, and Rainey and I will discuss this offline. But I had an issue with one of the software programs I'm using, and it was a big problem. So I fortunately I attended a couple eBay opens, so I had the concierge service. So I actually got somebody that was, US based and was very helpful. So I actually called support this week, but I typically don't call support unless I have a problem I can't handle myself. Because I was stressed out. It wasn't stress free. I was stressed out. So I called support.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that are small. Don't keep those rotten emails and all the negatives and all that. Just forget about them and move on. You're not going to change them. Some people really don't care to have the answer that you actually have. They don't really want to know what the truth is. Okay. They just know they got a problem they want it fixed. So fix it and move on. Some problems you can't fix, don't worry about it. But I see too many people that really just concentrate on the issues and the problems, and they really can't move on to do things that are positive and affect them in a positive way.
Well, we're on the emails and messages and things, and there might be some people, hopefully, they're new to my channel and haven't heard you say this before. But you shared something a couple times on this channel. I thought it was very, very useful to us, and kind of on this same topic. You got an email by somebody that was very disappointed in the quality of your coffee and complained that the coffee didn't taste proper. Why don't you share that with us and explain that you kind of sat on it a day and then you considered it and how it saved you probably tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it did. A lady wrote me, and it was a really nasty email. She said, I got your coffee and it smelled really good, but it had no taste. And she said, I probably should have put the bag in the grinder and ground the bag up because there was more flavor in the bag and than your coffee. And I thought, well, that was really something pretty bad to say. But as I thought about it, I looked, and the bags that were manufactured for me were made with the wrong liner, and the liner acted as a blotter. And she was absolutely right. Uh, the blotter blotted up all the flavoring. So all the flavoring was actually in the bag. And it probably was true that if she would have ground the bag, she would have got more flavor out of it than the coffee. Now we're talking about flavored coffee. We're not talking about just plain roasted regular coffee. But that nasty comment saved me tens of thousands of dollars because had I not had that, then I would have been continually sending out coffee and there would have virtually been no flavoring because it would have been blotted up by the coffee bags.
So again,
So
you sat on that, not responded immediately. You thought about what they said and said, this person actually has a very valid point. And like you said, you responded and it saved you tens of thousands of dollars.
yeah, if I would have responded right away, yeah, I can be pretty surly at times.
We all can.
Just ask my wife and my children; they'll tell you. Uh, and I'm not proud of that. That's just the way I am. But I sat around and I thought about it and I contemplated it. And I really said, well, let me take a look at this. And like I said, she was absolutely right. And had she not been as surly as she was, I probably would not have looked at it and not have taken it seriously. And I've had several things over the years happen that were very similar. I mean, you get something and somebody says, "Oh, these are stale." Well, their vocabulary is rather limited, so stale is one word that people know. They don't really know what's wrong with it. So we sold a dehydrated product, and during the summer, the humidity level was so high, we were having tornadoes here and floods, and the dehydrated product actually rehydrated. And you know, we basically took it out. We looked at it and we said, yeah, this is not the way it's supposed to be. So we had to throw it out and basically uh, replace it for our customers. But had they not complained, we probably would have sent out a whole load of product that was really second in quality and not first quality. So a lot of times when you get complaints, those complaints are really valid. I mean, there are people out there who continue to want to scam you, but there are a lot of people out there who are real.
Well, that's
And
kind of
you know
like
what?
returns. Unfortunately, I mean, there are scammers out there, like you alluded to, but the returns are part of the business. And I mean, everyone gets upset when you get a return, but it is what it is. You just got to deal with it and try to move on.
I'm very cautious in food when I buy food, let's say from a food product from eBay, I'm going to use them because they're probably the worst at it of all the platforms. And I've seen an item called Runts. Okay, it was a Nestle product. It's now made by Ferrara Foods, uh, but Ferrara Foods does not make only the bananas. The bananas are made by two other companies, and the ingredients of those other companies are markedly different. And if you have an allergy to any of the ingredients in there, you're going to have a problem because they are not the same ingredients that are in Runts because they're not even made by the same company. They're both made in Canada, uh, but they aren't the same. And that's only one example. I've reported it to eBay. They don't seem to really care. They've never taken care of it. And I think that's dangerous. And one day they're going to have a problem with it. Okay. So, you want to be careful when you're buying product, even buying product to resell. There's a lot of phony items out there. And even, even the most reputable companies can be scammed. I remember Starbucks buying Konakai Farms Kona coffee when actually it wasn't Kona coffee, it was Panama coffee. And I'll tell you the difference. Kona coffee sells for almost $50 a pound. Panama coffee sells for $6 a pound.
Big difference, nearly 9 times.
You know, you don't need that kind of stress. You know what? Tell people the truth, be honest with them. Honesty you can remember, lies you can't. You want to catch somebody in a lie, talk to them long enough. You want to find out what podcast is telling the truth? Yeah, listen to it for a year and question it. And you'll find out that there are lies all over the place.
What are some of the other tips that you have as far as to create stress-free listings? Is there something as far as systems, or what other kind of tips do you have?
Yeah, I don't really I turn my phone off when I'm listing. I listen to only music. I don't listen to music with words. Uh, and I concentrate. One person that a lot of people don't like, and I actually have an appreciation for him, is Gordon Ramsay. Gordon will fool around with people and joke with people, but when it comes to cooking and the time when he has to prepare for his dinner service, he's all about that and nothing else. If he yells at you, it's only to make you better. And that's
Yeah.
pretty much the way I look at things. You know what? When I'm listing, I'm serious about it. Don't call me. I won't answer the phone. I concentrate on what I do. I lock the door. I don't want to hear the kids screaming. I don't want to hear the dogs barking. So that's another reason I turn on music. So it's loud enough that I can't hear anything else and I have no other distractions. I prep my things. I get the things that I'm going to use all there within arm's reach. And I can virtually reach up and get whether I need a scissors, whether I need a knife. I don't even have to look at it. I know exactly where it is. If I need a bag to pack something, it's within arm's reach. And once I'm done, The rest of my time is free. I can either list more. Uh, I actually like to go in and rework a lot of my listings because things change. Maybe I'll see a competitive listing that looks nicer than mine, and I'm not one to leave that go. And if I have 5 or 6 thousand listings, I'm sorry, you're just not able to do it.
Well, that's one of the tips you were talking about. Turning off distractions and whatnot, and you set me on a goal listing, which I appreciate you doing that for me. And I was doing some listings pretty late at night, and I came back. It's like that's not supposed to be the main picture of my listing. I spelled that wrong. My pricing is wrong. So I was doing this, 11 p.m., midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I came back the next day. It's like, what are these mistakes I made? Go back I mean, I try to double check everything, but obviously I didn't that night. To go back and double check your listings when they're active.
I looked at a listing and I said, I can't believe this idiot actually listed the title that way. And then an hour and a half later, I went back and found one of my own that were listed exactly the same way.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
you know, you can be really critical on somebody else, and then, you made that same mistake. And I've done that plenty of times. And I went back and looked at listings and I go, oh my, I can tell these are really old because uh, of the way I did it. And you know what? It was okay back then. There used to be a time when you could add music to your listings on eBay.
Okay.
There was a time when you could add animations. There was a time when you could do all kinds of different things that you can no longer do. And sometimes those were taken down, and sometimes they weren't. They've continued. They've changed an awful lot over the years. Some of them I think were better, and some of them I think would really be nice if they brought them back. But it's not my site. I'm living in their house when it comes to listing on eBay or whatever site. So I got to follow their rules. You know, I have to pay the rent and I have to obey the lease pretty much.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the old sayings, and kind of referring to what you're saying. They use the sports analogy. It's playing basketball. It's their ball. It's their court. So you play by the rules. You can't make up your own rules. You got to go by the place that you're playing's rules. So that's kind of like with e-commerce sites. eBay has rules. Amazon has rules. Walmart has rules. Car has rules, and they're all different. And you have to follow the rules. But like you said, you can get suspended and/or banned from those sites, and it happens. I mean, Chris Lynn, perfect example. He got
I
kicked off of site and permanently. Now he's the
I
whatnot king.
I used to have a saying my grandmother had, which was everything has a place and everything belongs in its place. Well, you know what? When you list an item, I think you need to keep to that because the one thing that is really frustrating, and I've gone through it, and I'm sure that you have, is selling an item and then not being able to find it. And pretty much, when you're going to find it? After you refunded them. That's when you'll find it. But
So
then,
basically, you're saying that's another thing, I guess, to make your technically it's not listing, but it's your e-commerce business less stressful is have a good inventory system.
yeah, yeah. I mean, don't, you know what? I know it gets exciting to list a new item and you want to get your money back right away, but you got to have a place for it. If you sell it, you can't find it. That's not a good thing. And
Well,
it can really
that's the
affect
most
your,
stressful thing. That's the most stressful thing for me in reselling. I mean, I said probably returns are second most, but when you can't find a listing that sold, it's like you don't say, "Oh, I sold something," and you can't find it, and you're looking, and you're looking, and you're looking, and you're like, so where could this possibly be? It's extremely stressful.
yeah, we did a series called Cleaning Up the Clutter. And that's probably a good thing to start with is clearing everything off your workspace. Uh, all those things are like speed bumps when you're driving through a parking lot. There's nothing more irritating than driving through a parking lot and you got to slow down to almost a half a mile an hour and bump over the speed bump, and then all of a sudden your coffee spills, and you got to clean your car. It's just relatively irritating. Well, that's what some of these things are like. No different than a speed bump. So, before you finally put that final click that says, make it live or list it, have a place where it's going to be, and maybe mark that somewhere in the listing, that when you get the order, it'll tell you exactly where that order is.
I like to put things, I mean, speaking of, I sell 99% on eBay. I put things on the custom SKU. I put the listing date, the locate. Well, first I put the location, which is very important. We're just discussing. I put the listing date, and then I put my starting listing price. And typically in the description as well, I put the item location as well. Because sometimes you don't have access to your custom SKU. So it's like, okay, well, it's down here. Okay. So it's E24. So I write down E24, E25. So I can pull them right off. It makes it easy for me to find the items.
Yeah, I bought a scanner, and I'll tell you what, that has revolutionized my inventory, because now I can just carry it with me in one hand. I can scan an item, and I know how many I have. So if I bring three more in, I just hit three and it'll add three to that inventory. Or
Okay, so
if I have to send out a replacement because something was broken, I can delete that from my inventory right away. And therefore, I'm not going to oversell.
it's like a wireless or a Bluetooth scanner that you just scan the.
Yeah,
Well, you
it's
create your own labels, correct? So yeah, you
yeah,
do it.
yeah. I have a GS1 certified UPC code, so
Okay.
there, I have 100,000 UPC codes that I own.
So you put
Unlike
that label on the product and then you scan it so you can add or subtract
right.
inventory.
Well, not only that, but I'll also scan the bin, so it'll tell me exactly where it is, because I have a code on the bins now as well. So if it's, let's say, C3, I know that it's on level 3, the third bin over.
So again, we were talking earlier about stress, making things stress free, and one of the stressful things is when you can't find a listing that is sold. So that's improve your inventory system. It's not working. You can speak with other resellers. I mean, talk about resellers all the time that do live streams or videos, and they say, "Oh, I just changed my inventory system. I was having problems with my inventory system." Anything big saying, I love saying things that are old fashioned and that work. Anything that's permanent is change. You constantly have to adapt, and things aren't working. Change it, make it more successful, make it more streamlined, more easier to implement.
Yep. Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for being here and watching this channel. Maybe list some of your items that made things stress free, and help somebody else out.
Thank you all. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. We'll see you in the next video. Take care now.